Hello everyone, today I'm going to be proposing a gene therapy for herpes simplex virus that utilizes lipid nanoparticles to make CD8 CAR T cells targeting recurrent herpes infection. So herpes is a very common virus, and between both species about 75% of the global population has it. HSV1 is more common and is generally spread through orolabial routes, while HSV2 is generally spread through genital routes. But both viruses share common ground down to the similar protein structures, which is why this therapy has been together. Once infected, HSV is not curable and will enter latent and active phases. I'll review this later in further slides, but these active phases not only cause pain and social discomfort, but have neurological consequences, increased risk of STDs transmission, and can kill children in childbirth through early transmission. Lastly, HSV can infect a great variety of cells and have proteins that have co-evolved to disrupt the innate immune response, such as glycoprotein D of HSV. When latent, HSV mainly lies dormant in sensory neurons beneath the epithelial cells. So as it relates to a global population, there are about 5 billion HSV patients, and each patient has been cited to have at least around one HSV activation episode per year on average, equaling around 4.5 billion episodes yearly. During those episodes, patients will develop painful genital skin and lip lesions, increased risk of HSV and HIV transfer, and more dangerously, chronic HSV-associated meningitis, and the high morbidity transmission of HSV in childbirth. In summation, the NIH estimates the medical costs of treating HSV-1 and 2 to be approximately $35 billion. Primarily citing the NIH strategic claims for 2023 to 2028, I think it would be possible to secure funding for my following treatment proposal under Object 4.1. Which primarily focuses on treating existing HSV infections rather than a prophylactic vaccine, which should have a more beneficial use to a global population, given that approximately 25% of the population does not have HSV, while the remaining 75% does. So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Awasti presented at one of the Wistar lectures about her experience in designing a herpes vaccine. Her talk design mainly surrounded a knob and hole antibody design, where it's possible to fuse two different characterized antibodies into a bivalent antibody, vastly increasing the potency of the antibody. Here's some earlier work that she reviews a trivalent antibody treatment delivered through a lipid nanoparticle mRNA vaccine. This vaccine encodes targets for glycoprotein E, D, and C, which are proteins that help the virus integrate by glycoprotein E and bind to the surface of the infected cells, D and C. Interestingly, they chose the G and D sites, which are shared between HSV1 and 2, while GE is specific to HSV2. We can see that even without the knob and hole strategy, these are just free-floating antibodies. This mRNA vaccine provided very effective prophylaxis in mice and guinea pigs, reducing genital disease, vaginal titers, and HSV shedding in both HSV1 and 2. At the time, they wrote that. At the time, what they wrote as a limitation to the study is that first, this is a prophylactic vaccine, and it will not work on an existing infection. They also cite that priming the CD8 T cell response may be important for controlling existing or recurrent herpes. So to address the CD8 response issue, I thought that the best approach would be to directly target CD8 cells and transiently transduce them with chimeric antigen receptor gene modifications. This way, the CD8 cell doesn't have to go through rounds of TCR selection and adaptive immune priming. Instead, we'll directly recognize and kill HSV1 and 2 with an engineered bivalent antibody that is cross-reactive to both HSV1 and 2. We can actually directly conjugate the lipid nanoparticle to attach to CD8 receptors so that most of the mRNA drug finds a CD8 T cell to transfect. So the purpose of this mRNA treatment will be to transiently suppress HSV in existing infections for the purpose of preventing neonatal death, suppressing painful conditions, and alleviating HSV meningitis, with the potential to permanently clear HSV infection if we find a way to clear the latent reservoir. So to take a page out of Dr. Alaski's book, I proposed testing the toxicity and potency of this treatment in mice first. So we'll first establish an existing HSV1 or 2 infection in mice, and after a week we'll introduce the mRNA encoding the CAR. And we're interested in any potential deaths or side effects of the treatment, genital sores, and lastly, vaginal titers of HSV1 and 2 in the mice. We are also interested in seeing how long the CAR will be expressed in these mice, as the lipid nanoparticle therapy is expected to be short-term, but other studies suggest that the mRNA CARs will persist for several months at a time. Assuming that the animal trial has shown no toxicity even in extreme cases of mRNA CAR delivery, we can open up a small clinical trial taking in volunteers with HSV1, HSV2, or no HSV, and dosing them with either the mRNA CAR or without. Over a 5-week period, we will check in on the incidence of side effects, HSV reactivation incidents, and lastly, we will titer the blood and genital samples of the patients. Once this clears clinical trials, it's time to think about rolling out this treatment for greater populations. For one, these lipid nanoparticles may be acceptably held in minus 80 degrees Celsius for about a half a year, and once thawed can be released at 4 degrees Celsius for an additional month. As a release criteria, our clinical trial must reflect no patient death and less than 5% of severe adverse effects in treated patients. For potency criteria, the lipid nanoparticle, when stored and delivered properly, will make at least 50 CD8 CAR T cells per microliter of peripheral blood at the peak of transfection, which is expected to be at day 4. A most direct correlate of protection in this HSV clearing treatment is the clearance of glycoprotein D and C protein in peripheral blood, which can be measured through ELISA, and a more accessible metric, while indirect, could be the correlate of minimum presence of CAR T cells at the peak of transfection, which is a good indicator for how much GD and GC protein it's going to clear. Here are my references. That is the end of the presentation. Please be nice to me. I'm sick and I'm trying to find out how long this presentation will talk.